Right, we've just been talking about the energy particles and the dark matter and rules of nature. Now, in rules of nature, there are things which basically allow the communicational network to complete itself. Now, there are audible communications which are almost instant, and that is a star that makes a ticking sound. So the star that ticks and makes a sound, an audible sound, and constantly keeps that sound up and running, becomes something that you can hear regularly on a regular basis. Now with light, there is the same rule of nature when it comes to the waveform. The waveform structure is light speed. So you've got light speed communications, you've got instant micro flashes of light speed, instant micro flashes of light speed. Now these things are just as fast and are just as quick as the audible is under its constant click of a star that basically is spewing out tons and tons and tons of energy particles and creating an audible click on its rotation. Now, because of the star itself and the rotation of the star, there is a mixture of rules of nature. Mixture of rules of nature that basically combine and basically build an understanding that if you put together certain factors of audible wave and light speed frequency, then it means that light speed, frequency and audible wave can also carry at the same speed and at the same distance to a particular listening post, shall we say, like a telescope, a radio telescope. And because these listening stations are basically constantly listening out to try and hear whether there are any changes there, so you get a mixture of several things. You get a mixture of audible, and then you get a mixture of light speed, light wave communications, but also as well that there is within particles and the energy structure of particles, even though a photon exists when it's created, and it's extremely intense when it's thrust out because of the energy that created it in the first place, it may only last for a small period of time, but the actual detection of them is still traversing the known space. Now, there's a whole load of other things as well, really, when it comes to light wave and energy structures. Energy structures that are in density. Now, you need to understand is that the universe is dark, and it's been sucking up a load of starlight from billions and billions of stars. And it's created a whole load of radiation and saturated the universe in all kinds of different types of radiation particles and radiation gases and all sorts of things. So because there is a constant source which is spread out over a great vast area, massive, the density of the universe and the density of the energy that's in the universe is immense, and it all exists, and it's all there all at the same time. So because of all of this, there are areas of space where you have the dark energy, which is a saturation of energy which is in the dark matter. Now, energy still performs as energy and will behave as energy in areas in small pockets all over the place. And the rules of nature change whenever there is a difference in the energy structures, and they perform very differently in isolated conditions. But when the energy is a unified energy that covers the whole of the area of the dark matter, which dark matter is covered in dark energy, there is the instant communication. Now, you've got to understand is that in dark matter there is time. Now, the rules of nature cover things like time creation, compressed speeded time, and various other areas of stretched out time, and they all have their own rules of nature. So once you put the rules of nature together and you add time and you add light speed and you add audible resonance, the energy communications between one area of energy structure to another area of energy structure, basically it means is that the energy will send a signature. Now the information is instantly picked up by this one here because of the structural flow. Now, it's difficult to try and explain apart from the fact that if you have a substance where you can place an energy into, like you're placing energy into dark matter, and then place energy into dark matter here, the instant that there is a connection is the dark matter. So the dark matter is the connection between the two energy structures. And because the dark matter itself is full of dark energy, when this one ripples, shall we say, a change of state, and then this follows all the way down the structure to this little energy structure here. But this one is also doing its job as well. So this one will have something that will be going out in this direction, and this one will have this one that's going off in this direction. And when they meet at various different points along the particular line of communication, they are instantly connected to one another. Instantly connected to one another. So there's a half of a traverse, let's say, of information, and a half of a traverse of information. And once it's connected, there is an instant flow between the two. Now, the only way that I can the only way that I can explain it is that if you have a structure like a motherboard, and you put an item on the motherboard, and you put another item on the motherboard, and you have a strip of copper that connects the two. As soon as you put electricity to, let's say, another copper, because you've got this thing connected to a copper all over the place, right? And as soon as you connect this to another copper connection, right, the electricity flows through the thing, right? So when you switch something on, when you've got your electric devices and you switch something on, it boots up to electric current, and it boots up to a functioning product. And then whilst the energy is still there in the product, you've got instant communications and instant things happening within your actual device. So you've got transport of information. Like I say, rules of nature means that if there is an isolated area of an isolated place, there are different rules that nature uses for that item to function. But when it comes to energy flow and current flow and various other communicational ways of being able to communicate through distance, light also behaves in a similar manner. Give it a structural source to connect to, and it spreads like electricity. And of course, nature can change light into electricity, or it can change it into a light source like a photon, and it'll dissipate, or you can have it infrastructured into dark energy, and it's a solid dark, an infrastructure into dark matter, which then is a solid flow of dark energy, and you just hook up to dark energy, and you'll be constantly in current flow, let's say. So that's a little bit of an explanation regarding the rules of nature, and we'll pick up on certain other things that we're doing within the Institute itself. I'm actually on the way back to the area of the Institute. So when we get back up there, hopefully we'll be able to produce some more work. So I'll speak to you on the way and when we finally get there.